What's good, y'all? It's Freaky Friday, and today we're talking about intimacy.
Welcome to the Renegade Relationship Realists with Rev-N-Rachael Pierre McAllister and Rachel Dilling. Please be advised, this channel is rated R for realism.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rev-N-Rachael.
And today we're talking about intimacy. So we wanted to define intimacy because we were talking, sex is really important because it is Freaky Friday, right? So we're talking about sex, and there's different levels of sex. There's the raw, just in it, instinctual sex.
Yeah.
And then there's the kind and loving and gentle and that heartfelt sex.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's some other kind that we could get into, but today we're talking about the intimacy, the emotional intimacy that you can have when you're engaged in sexual activity with somebody that you care about.
Well, so there's different levels of intimacy, though, too.
Okay, tell me about that.
All right, so you've got, and I watch this as I work with people, how the different partners, how their definition of what intimacy is and what it looks like can be really, really different. Some people are at the level of, and we talk about this in our class, as a matter of fact.
We do.
The 5 love languages. And so for some people, intimacy means the touch. For some people, intimacy means, as interesting as it is for me, gift giving, which I don't quite get that, but I don't have to, right?
No, you don't.
No, I don't. But anyway, the point is that whatever makes the heart open and feel close to someone, that's a level of intimacy, and it just really looks different for other people.
So we're talking specifically intimacy in sex right now.
But even still, there has to be some level of intimacy before a lot of people want to engage in sex. So the intimacy isn't just sexual intimacy, it's intimacy before you get to intercourse.
Well, but there's a part of me going, there was a long
Except for that raw
time.
thing.
Yeah, well, that's true. There was several years that I spent where I did not associate love and sex.
Okay.
That they were separate things in my mind. And so to have sex did not mean that I had to have that romantic intimacy necessarily, but there was a level of intimacy that happens when you engage in sexual activity with somebody. So I think you're talking about a more of an emotional intimacy.
I am.
Which can be, isn't necessarily, but could be something different than sexual intimacy.
Well, I think it can be very, very different. When we talk about partnerships, before there is the raw, it's hopefully in a partnership there's always the raw sexual energy, right? And that is a level of intimacy in itself. But there's the other level of intimacy that's, I know what we called the word gentler. Gentler.
That's okay.
Yeah,
explain that to me.
It's different. Well, it's a gentler way to be with each other versus the raw energy that's just going on. Okay. Both are sexual, all right, but one is, you said it, more of the heart versus just the physical interaction.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when I'm feeling like I just want to connect, and I want to be in that same space, that sex can create this connection that doesn't happen in a different way or another way.
I would agree with that.
And that is intimacy.
I would agree with that.
Because that's not something you go to a bar and pick up somebody and you can go and do and get that connection feeling. Even though I think that a lot of times people who do go to a bar and have sex are looking for that intimacy connection. But I think that comes with trust. And
now you're talking about a whole different level, right? When you talk about
I
so
see
we're
what
talking
you're
about trust. Now we're talking about another level of intimacy.
Right.
And so just be aware that when we're talking about the subject of intimacy and you're talking about sex, there are different levels. And so it's really important. Here we go with what we talked about before, is talking to your partner to understand how we're interpreting our time together sexually, all right? And this idea of intimacy. What does it look like? Again, so many people that I work with, that term, intimacy, really means 2 different things. And until we talk about it, we can't come together with it and have a more sexual heightened experience.
So intimacy could be vulnerability. It could be trust. It could be a level of safety, a feeling of safety.
Or that level of connection that you talked about.
Oh, and I love that connection. And the connection is not even about the orgasm. It's just about feeling whole. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, we're talking about sex, honey. I'm not so sure we can describe it all.
That's a good point. So, what's our challenge for today?
Oh. So, I think the challenge for this week is, could you define for yourself a level of intimacy that feels good for you?
Yeah.
And then if you are partnered up in this moment, have that conversation with your partner. If you're not partnered up, get real clear and defined for you. So when you decide to be with someone, maybe that's a conversation you can have.
You can totally have intimacy with yourself and have sex.
Oh, now that's a whole nother level.
That is a whole other level of intimacy and sex. We have to talk that. We already talked about that at one point.
Yeah, we did. I'm sure we'll do it another time in a different way.
Good. So it's Freaky Friday, and we want to say please subscribe if you liked our show, as well as hit the little bell if you want notifications of when we are releasing our videos.
And then, of course, be sure to like it if you like it. Be sure to share it if you want to share it. And then be sure to leave us a comment. So in the meantime, what we like to say is, go get your freak on.
Get your freak on.
See ya.
Bye.